Good afternoon, everyone, and good evening for those who will be watching us later on, connecting with us later, as well as good morning, right? For those who will be watching us in the future as well, because this is being recorded and it will be at your demand as well as we stream this amazing moment that we're going to share today in the future through many of the options that the SSP offers as well. So, good afternoon to you to this moment. Today, we have a very special guest with us here, someone who is always with us, not currently physically in the same environment, if you will, but still streaming from another place in the world. But we'll tell you a little bit more in a couple minutes. Before let's really put our excitement together, right? And not lose ourselves. Let us read a passage of the book Happy Life by Joana de Angelis through the hands of the medium Divaldo Franco, and then say our prayer together so then we can pass the word to our speaker today. Joana de Angelis says in one of her chapter of this book, to be more exactly, let's see here, chapter 52 of the old version. It is page 185. She says the following: calm the anxieties of your heart. What you have not yet achieved is on the way. Do not suffer beforehand or let yourself get into depressed states because of things that certainly are not needed. Lack can provide us with the resources to appreciate people and things. The person who enjoys benefits certainly underestimates what he possesses. Learn to live with scarcity and loneliness, and you will know how to avoid the drunkenness of the senses, the voluptuousness of sensuality, and over possessiveness. You are what you accomplish and not what you have or the persons you meet. Amazing message, very well suited for the topic that we're going to be talking later on and being presented to. But let us hold our contentment still a little bit and let us say our prayer. Talking to our God, our Creator, our Master Jesus, let us find a comfortable position where we can all set our minds and our hearts and dedicate our times to our lives to this moment. We're thankful, dear Creator, for this opportunity that we have, for the presenter, for the topic, for one another who will be here with us, connecting with us, and sharing this moment, hoping that each one of us can do our part to exercise these teachings and to multiply a moment like this, a moment of encounter with one another, of prayer, and to submit ourselves to something greater, something that will uplift not only us, but the entire world. We ask that this message can travel through the different waves permitted by you to also illuminate the minds and hearts of many others in both realms of life. And with this contentment, we give you thanks and pray that all of those who are going through difficult moments in their lives, losses, that they can also find peace and happiness within everything that they're going through, to be also attentive to what you provide us every single day. Much grateful for all that we have, all that we are, and everything that will come in our ways in the future. We thank you, and so be it. So, as we were saying, we have a special guest today, no other than Dr. Yasco Aracava with us again, sharing this moment with us. And I would like to pose a question here to all of you. Have you ever thought or came across that feeling that, wait a minute, why is this person better than I am? Or why can others cannot do the things that I can do, right? So today, Yasko will be sharing with us this amazing topic. Why hasn't God endowed everyone with the same aptitudes and wealth? Right? Sometimes we question, why is the grass greener on the other side? And the same can be said, perhaps, coming from our neighbors, right? Thinking that we have it all, but not necessarily. But I don't want to ask any more questions or take any more time from Yasco, but I'll pass the word to you, Yasco. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with us and lead us into this amazing topic. And thank you for being here.
Hi, everyone. Oh, I am so glad to be here with you, in company of you. I feel so comfortable among friends. So today, this question that Leo just read, why hasn't God endowed everyone with the same aptitudes and wealth, is actually one of the questions from the chapter Law of Equality. So I'm going to start to share my screen and with you. Okay. So as I said, it's part of the law of equality. Law of equality is one of the 10 moral laws presented by Kardec in part 3 of the Spirit's book that is called Moral Laws. So those moral laws we're going to see later, together with the material laws, are the so-called natural or divine laws. So if each of these 10 laws, divine laws, are divine and natural, how about, like Kardec wisely also talked about, let's talk about first in chapter 1, what divine or natural laws are about. And actually, the first question, 614, if you guys are following the book, what is meant by natural law? Is what? Law of the nature? What is that? No, natural law is the law of God. It is actually a divine law. It is the only, see the word, only law that is truly necessary for human beings to be happy. It shows them what they should or should not do, and they only suffer misfortune when they depart from those laws. Do you see how powerful are those two affirmations? Well, it's the only law. If I don't follow, if I follow, I'm happy. If I don't follow, I'm doomed to suffering. It is difficult. And more, he asked, what do the divine laws, these natural laws, the law of God encompass? Do they apply to anything other than the moral conduct? All the laws of nature are divine because God is the author of all things. Scientists study the laws of matter, whereas moral individuals study and practice the laws of the soul. So actually, the moral laws are also the laws of the soul. So if we think of us as a spirit, is the law of us as a spirit that governs us as a spirit and also the spiritual world, not only the material world. So let's start with the law of physical or material world. So these laws are actually object of and interest of various sciences, like astronomy, astrophysics, chemistry, physics, electricity, biology. Through how? Through observations. So you observe the cosmos, you test in the laboratories in certain given conditions, control conditions, using mostly our five senses, with the aid of some instruments, of course, that will just enhance these senses, like microscope to see the teeny ones, and also the big space telescope to see the macroscopic cosmos. Five senses. How about the use of our six senses in order to investigate something related to this world? Sure enough, in question 20, Kardec asked, outside the realm of scientific investigation, can humans receive communications of a higher order spirits, regarding matters that go beyond the scope of their sense, the five senses? Yes, if God deems it useful. So it will be allowed while it's useful to us, to humans. God will reveal what science cannot detect with the five senses. And Kardec complements, it is through such communications that he was doing at time of these questions, is such a communication with the high spirits that humans can, to a certain degree, know about their past and their future destiny. So, if I am only be happy if I obey the God's law, the divine law, and if I am be completely unhappy if I depart from it, it is fair to ask, well, what is this God's law? Am I allowed to know them? And the Spirit say, all may know about this God's law, but not all understand it. Worse, very few of us follow and obey it. Moral persons and those who desire to examine it are the ones who understand it best, not completely, the best compared to all other creatures. Nevertheless, all will understand it someday, because such understanding is necessary for progress. So there is another law, divine law, that is the law of progress. So it will slowly, within our limitation, of course, but slowly we will be allowed to understand more and more of God's law. And where those laws, God's laws, is written, because if I have to know in order to make good decisions, to be happy and to avoid unhappiness, what is written? In the conscious, like we all know. In our own conscious, we all have this law inside of us. Since humans carry God's law in their conscience, why does it have to be revealed to them? Well, shouldn't I know if it's also in my conscience? Well, because they have forgotten, and disregarded it. But God has willed for them to remember it. How God is allowed this remembrance to reach us poor humans? The question 622, has God endowed certain individuals with the mission of revealing the divine law? Yes, certainly. In every age, individuals have received this mission. They are high order spirits who have incarnated with the purpose of enabling humankind to progress. So we know that way before Jesus came, Many prophets appeared in different parts of the earth, bringing some answers and teachings from the high spirits or from God, right? What is the perfect standard that God has offered to human as a guide and model? So it appears before many prophets, many missionaries, but who is the perfect standard, guide and model standard? Jesus. Okay, these questions we all know. So let's go now. Once we know about what these divine and natural laws are, where it's written, now let's go to, there are many laws, let's go to specifically to this law of equality for tonight. Chapter 9. In this natural equality, you see this, there's many sections: natural equality, the inequality of aptitudes, social inequalities, we all know about, the inequality of wealth. There's a lot of inequalities here, not too much equality, because the inequality is what really reaches us as humans, bother us, hurt our senses, right? Inequalities. So in the natural equality session, the question 803, the question is, are all people equal before God? Yes, although we see all these differences, all tend towards the same goal. God has made the divine laws for everyone. It seems not so easy to swallow this, right? We see so much inequality among us, at least in this level that we are currently in the planet of trial and expiation. Well, it doesn't look like this, there is a law for everyone. It seems some has more advantage than others. Well, however, if we follow, let's see the other. Now let's go back here. Let's see this figure of the iceberg, right? You have like 5% that is external, the whole 95% is submerged. If we are all this entire iceberg, and in this incarnation only appears this 5% of us, but all this 95% is making up of us. And there are darkness, there are dark caves that makes us as a whole. So this is the whole thing that we accumulated, and we once in a while are allowed to have some glimpse of some part of us as an immortal spirit. So the law or principles that we know is that we are immortal beings. So we were created, simple and ignorant in the beginning, but slowly we evolved throughout the millions of years. We went through different kingdoms. And at certain point, we develop some kind of awareness of ourselves. The spirit starts to be aware of itself. And in that point, we became like an individualized spirit, aware slowly of ourselves. And once I have this awareness, we can say, well, I wanted to experience this was good, that was bad, and this is stored in our memory. Do I want to repeat the good experience, or do I still want to see if that bad experience that has some glimpse of good parts, I want to go by stubbornness to keeping that route? It's up to us. So we are developing this sense of choices, rational choices, of course, through pain and joy, through pain and joy. Because those two things are mixed, sometimes in order to have certain type of joy, we have to endure the pain. But this is during the evolution of the spirit. We will sometime say, you know what? I am tired of suffer. I want to change. So we develop this free will, and we start to put in sense what cause and effect is, what action and reaction is, right? And then we, by going through the different trials throughout this millennia, of wealth, power, poverty, simplicity, complexity, simple, familial set, etc., throughout many reincarnations, we start to be aware slowly what is good and what is bad in a long term. And of course, we learn God is intelligent, a supreme intelligent, and that ruling all these laws, we know that if we are going against the divine laws, we have to endure difficulties in our lives. But see, this awareness is not quite immediate. We go in wrong direction for quite a while, up to situation that we cause our lives to be shortened, family members that we care to be so in a suffering mode. All these things will in the end build up until we say, look, I don't want to be in this way anymore. Then we ask for help from our guides, and then they plan some new incarnations with some limitations, and see if we still will be rebelling, of we actually build what is so-called resilience, and we move on slowly. This is a very slow process. So in the next session is inequality of aptitudes. So we all know in this present level, in the planet of trials and expiation, the aptitudes are so diverse. So, of course, Kardec asked, why hasn't God endowed everyone with the same aptitudes? So some are wonderful painters, there are some philosophers, musicians, great scientists as Einstein, incredible athlete, in different sports, Olympians, but most of us, average, right? Average. But nevertheless, these lives of average person is so important for our evolution, because by being simple life, but we have to fulfill some duties and abate from to the divine laws, right? So the question, why hasn't God endowed everyone with the same aptitudes? And the spirits answer, God has created all spirits equal, but each one of them has lived over a longer or short amount of time and has consequently developed more or fewer aptitudes. Of course, it depends on all the detours that we made. Some will go more straightforwards, but some out of stubbornness, go deviate and go backwards, etc., etc. The difference lies in the degree of experience and volition, their free will. So once I have the free will, I have the freedom to go to this direction that the whole family is saying, no, this is not a good way. No, but I have my free will. But I have to endure the consequences, right? So the difference lies in the degree of experience and volition, their free will, by which some advance more rapidly, the other ones are stuck back, endowing them a wide range of aptitudes, right? So in one incarnation, I come with some kind of aptitude, the other one is this is hidden, and it comes other thing. Because human spirit, as a spirit, we have to experience a wide range of situations in order to see how I react as a rich person, as a poor person, as a sick person, as a very healthy person, a very lucky person, unlucky person, etc., etc., right? Okay, continuing these questions is more about the solidarity among humans and worlds. The spirits continue. A medley of aptitudes is necessary. So this sort of aptitudes is necessary so that all may contribute to the designs of providence within the limits of the development of their physical and intellectual power. So we come, because it's with different aptitudes and different physical and intellectual powers, because we have to experience. This is the design of the providence. But what one cannot do, that is the beauty, another does. And so all in the end having their useful function. Imagine if all of us are doing the same thing. There is no evolution of each one of us. Okay, one time I am a cook, the other time I'm the chef, the other time I am the customer, etc., etc. Furthermore, since all worlds are united in solidarity, that is the beautiful part. We are all united in solidarity. It is necessary for the inhabitants of more highly evolved worlds, most of which were created well before yours, to come and live here in order to set an example for you. So, came many special people, not in great number, otherwise they will do our job, and not we doing our job. But they serve here, there, as an example for us to mirror and say, let's do like that. That seems reasonable. Okay, so happened with the people from Capella. They were much more advanced. They were many years ago, 15 years ago, they were in the situation of jumping to more evolved planet, from the trials and expiation to the regeneration world. But there are some couple of stubborn spirits there, you know. So Jesus agreed to receive in the planet 15,000 years ago, where you need this boost. And of course, the human beings were still in the cave, were cavemen, etc. But they came to boost our, although they were lagging behind morally compared to their peers, but compared to us, they will have a positive impact. This is all in The Way of the Light, this wonderful book by Chico Xavier and Emmanuel. Social inequalities. Well, we see here, you know, people on the top of a lot of money, fewer in the very low level. There's a big difference here in the amount of richness, workers here, etc. And some that are in a very bad physical situation. And so those social inequality is very clear, apparent in our stage, the stage the earth is now. So the question 806 is the inequality of social conditions a law of nature? In other words, is it a divine law? Because law of nature is a divine law. It's the law of God. And then say this inequality, no, it's not from God. It is the work of humankind. We, out of egotistic behavior, inhuman behavior towards our fellows, we create this difference. So pride, selfishness, too much material attachment is the cause of this inequality, social inequality. And of course, the Spirit says, will this inequality disappear someday? Only God's laws are eternal, so we will disappear because these laws are made from human behavior. Don't you see inequalities disappearing little by little every day? They are destined to disappear together with the predominance, with the pride and selfishness. So they will disappear together with the pride and selfishness. Okay? When more wisdom appears among people, brotherhood, we will counteract pride and selfishness, leaving only the different levels of merit. We're going to go back to this thing, the final sense. So you see this group, this is a pyramid that is many, some, not more, not too much. It's believed in some countries, you know, that still holds this system of castes, and you know, the big amount of people are in the lower part of this pyramid, and very few are at the top: the priests, the academics, the warriors, etc. And God is above. But just look at this lower part, untouchable. Those are the workers that do the dirtiest job, the horrible jobs that really ruins their health because it's under horrible conditions. Street sweepers, latrine cleaners, you know, but the worst of this system is that they are not allowed to go upwards. Like in our society, we are allowed to go up and the human classes. No, you you're born there, you stay there. You see, so how is the rationale? The rationale is that, well, if you were born in that lower situation, it's because you deserve it. You have to pass through this karma. Once you burn all the karma, of course, you're going to be like one of us, just helping others, etc. So it's very terrible system that still is in some place over there. So go to inequality of wealth. You see here, this is a picture of a favela in São Paulo, very neighboring, a very rich buildings with all the amenities, etc. So in this question 808, doesn't the inequality of wealth originate in the inequality of faculties, which give to some persons more means of acquiring things than other persons? Okay, so imagine that if I went to a good school, I have more faculties developed. Isn't this reasonable for me to be, to have more things than the others? And the Spirit say yes and no, because you don't know if this was acquired honestly from your faculty. How about fraud and robbery? Right? And that's all what we see actually, right? The system cannot catch all of these nuances, our world, the earth system. So, would the inherited wealth be the fruit of evil passions? So, imagine that I inherit a big wealth. Do I need to think if this inheritance is coming from an evil passion? they answer, what do you know about it? Go back to the origin. If we were able to go like 2 generations, my parents, my grandparents, we may see how they got this wealth. Do I want to go there to dig out? Do you know whether or not if at its source it was the fruit of spoliation or injustice, robbery? Huh? But once I'm inheriting, I don't want even to ask this question, right? But the Spirit said, apart from the issue of its possible evil origin, do you believe that the longing for wealth, even when honestly acquired, and the secret longing conceived to possess it as soon as possible are laudable sentiments? We cannot put our head in the sand and say, well, it's not me, perhaps my grandfather did that. Well, how about if you, as the grandfather, you're the same spirit, right? After 2 generations, we can come back, right? So we have to be, not to put our head in the sand and think, well, is it really a laudable sentiment? Not to think clearly what is the origin of my wealth? Is absolute equality of wealth possible, and has it ever existed? Is it possible equality? See about our stage the earth is now, right? No, it is not possible. The diversity of faculties and characters opposes it. So we have so much diversity of capabilities among humans, of opportunities and character. So very quickly, if we start with some equality, everybody equal, we're gonna go to some diversity in equality. Nevertheless, There are those who believe it to be the remedy for all social ills. So they think this inequality in wealth is the source of social loss. And the Spirit asks, what do you think about it? Either they are framers of theories or they are ambitious and envious. So they're trying to kind of to deny to themselves. They want to twist the theories, but in the end, they are ambitious and evils. They do not understand that equality would be quickly broken by the force of things. Yeah. Start equal, put everybody equal. Wow, I say, well, let me equal to my rich neighbor. But soon, because of the selfishness that is the social plague, I will ruin all this equality, equal opportunity. Do not run after chimeras. So these opposing forces against there is opposing force against this absolute equality. Not in the stage the earth is now, because there is a diversity of faculties, diversity of moral characters, selfishness, ambition, envy, pride. How can we reach for some equality? No, that is not now. The inequality of wealth, still question 813. There are persons who fall into deprivation and poverty through their own fault. True. May society be held responsible for this? Yes, they ask. They answer. We have already told you that society is always the primary cause of such wrongs. Isn't it society's responsibility to attend to the moral education of its members? So if one of our people falls into crime, robbery, the whole society is responsible for that. When we start to neglect that piece of the society, my neighbor, when I start to deny equal access to opportunities, look to the apple, I have the responsibility to start to decrease the inequality. Let's start inside our family, right? There is a study made in European Union, I guess. The overall persistence of high-level poverty suggests that poverty is primarily the consequence of the way society is organized and resources are allocated. There's too much waste in some classes and too much need in the lower classes, which are more numerous. The decisions over how to eradicate poverty in the end are political choices about the kind of society we want. Not political as politicians, no, it's our way of seeing life, the rules. I am exerting my political choices. I have to ask what kind of society I want. By segregate people, I have probably to segregate myself inside my house, surrounded by high fence, electrified fence. Is it a life that I want for myself, for my family? And they continue. The least unequal societies in Europe tend to have the lowest level of poverty and to have been less impacted by the crisis. So because we are still in this level, the planet Earth goes up and down in terms of financial crisis. But those that are more prepared in seeing the society as a whole, they can deal with this crisis much better. This is primarily because these governments choose to give priority to ensuring adequate minimum income levels, ensuring good access to service, especially health, educational services, through the social protection system, through guaranteeing minimum wage levels, not the minimum wage that you can really live a decent life, right? They are usually the most effective in those societies, redistributing wealth through the tax and other systems. It's not what we see around, right? There is a lot of tax that are not paid by the ones that should pay more. And then the society, some corruption is over there, and the whole society suffers. But they have to be segregated in their fortress, right? So what life is that? So trials and wealth and poverty. We have the rich people, rich cars, imported cars, very expensive handbags, wonderful beverage, imported alcoholics, and the other side, this poverty. People suffering because they don't have the minimum way to survive. So in question 814, why has God bestowed wealth and power to some and poverty on others? In order to test everyone differently. I was not even expecting this answer. In order to test everyone differently. So it means one time I was born, I incarnate as a rich person, the other time poor, less poor, etc. Moreover, as you know, such trials are chosen by the spirits themselves, and they often fail at them. We ask for these trials and we fail, but one day we will succeed, right? That's what's going on. And the next question, which of the two trials is more dangerous to human? Poverty or wealth? They are equally so. Poverty provokes complaining against providence, against God, whereas wealth leads to all kind of excesses. You see, but there will be a time that I won't complain, I will be more resilient, I will understand God's will, the God's, design for me, etc. Next question, if the wealthy people endure more temptations, don't they also have means at their disposal for doing more good? Yeah, that's a good question. They say that is precisely what they do not do always. Yeah, if I have a lot, why can't you reserve something to do good, to go to charity? Because of the temptations. Once I have this, I want more. So the Spirit says, that is precisely what they do not always do. They become selfish, proud, and worse, insatiable. Not will satiate my desires to have more, to accumulate more and more. Their wants increase with their fortune, and they never think they have enough. Isn't terrible, guys? Okay, so I will stop here, and you see, it is so wonderful that we have all these teachings, to see that we are giving opportunities to grow, to learn from our pain, suffering, in order to leave aside selfishness, pride, and embrace humanity as one, our human fellows as our brothers. So here's Ubuntu. This is a word from the African language. I am because we are. So even when they are in that harsh poverty, without even the most common asset, water, food, once you have it, they divide, they share all this to all of them. It's like they said that once they did a game, they put a big bag of candies or whatever very good things on the top of the tree, and they asked the kids, look, one that reached there first will be allowed to have all. You know what they did? These kids, they hold their hands, all of them, and ran together. And they asked, why did you do that? And they said, what is the fun to have all these candies to myself? Right? If my brother, my friend is suffering, now I am happy because we all have the same sharing. Isn't beautiful? Isn't beautiful? So this is what is happening now in Madagascar. You know, they suffer without water. And of course, you know, they are happy people, but they are dying there. So, of course, we have this campaign with this beautiful book, Rosie and the Fraternal Notebooks, that yesterday I attended. And all the things that we're going to gather by the selling of these books is going to be routed to buy water in Madagascar. So it's a wonderful initiative that I ask you to join this or the other organization, of course. So, guys, thank you so much for following me in this talk. Thank you. So, do I need to stop sharing, right?
Stop sharing. Yes, Yasco.
How I do stop sharing here?
It should be
Ta-da.
just minimize your. Yep.
Okay. Okay, I think
Okay.
because it's in Portuguese.
It's hard to
Oh my
adjust,
God.
right?
What is this in English? Okay. So you
Part.
see, right? Okay.
Yes, I can see you. Can you see us? Good.
Yes.
Okay. So thank you for this amazing reminder that you brought to us. As we were saying at the beginning, and it's interesting enough that we read the passage with Joanna de Angelis, guiding us into this amazing study of ourselves, right? Because it's okay to want more. It's okay to um, uh, pursue a better life, right? To all of us. I think that this desire is also within us, right? To become a better individual in all senses, even in the materialistic way, right? But there's a limit for everything. And there is also this camaraderie that we develop throughout time. Just like the kids, the beautiful example that you brought at the end, right? Saying, what's the fun? What's the joy of having all of this for myself? And we learn over time that this is what we need to do through our own mistakes, right? But it's nevertheless, it's not easy to go through the pain of having to discover this. When we lose ourselves and we forget the laws that is inside of us, and then having to find ourselves in the tough moments of life when we don't have the resources, right? But more to come because I also have a question about this idea that we're sharing here today. First of all, I would like to say thank you for all of those who have connected with us here. Chris, Alba, Kirsten, Daniel, and Iracema as well. We also have Andrea, actually, Andrea Marshall with us here today. It's nice to see you. Andres as well. Again, all of those who are connected with us now and those who will connect with us in the future. So thank you. I would like to go over, I believe we have a question here from Kirsten. Yes. And I'll bring it over here for us when she asks, Yasco, diversify or diversity, equality, and inclusion is the new thing that corporations are adopting. How do we deal with people that don't accept those that are different than we are,
Well,
different than us?
Kirsten, of course, it is an initiative. As an initiative, we'll find some blockage. But everything that we decide to do has, of course, opposition. But we have to do it because we're going to find out there are many people that think like that will agree that there is no way anymore to not give opportunities to all, because I had a good education. The other ones, it has to be punished because it was not even allowed to go to high school. And then, of course, the resulting difficulties not to have a good job. So we have to make a system that will allow them to catch up with the education, with the learning, even if they are adult. Decrease a little bit the working journey and allow the other 1 hour, whatever. It's many company are doing this, allowing the workers to even have the basic education of reading. Some don't know even how to read the warnings, to help their children. So we have to come out and compensate what humanity did for centuries, segregating humankind in classes. Of course, we are getting better and better, much better than if we compare ourselves to 1,000 years ago, when the system was so harsh. You born in this family, you're doomed to be forever a slave, right? So we are slowly, but we have to make the effort. We have to make the effort to break this ice. We have to. We as a CEO, we as a person that have a very simple person helping us around in our building, for instance, we have to support their education. We call here adult education because they did not have time while they were kids, right? In order for even at night to provide. And Brazil is giving this supplemental, whatever is this course. My mother actually, she joined after she was very adult because she wanted to study. She had stopped when she was starting high school because her father died. But the system allowed her to go back to school, and she got her diploma. So there is this awareness, and there are many people and systems that wants to come out and work out about these differences. But we have to do more. We have to do more, really,
I will continue. Thank you, Yasco. I will continue here with Kirsten. And she says, in this same line of thought, Are you saying that inequalities that exist is because mankind has made it so? Do you mean that we as humanity need to do better? And I'll leave the question here so you can
Yes,
digest.
yes, it's difficult to go when it started because as humans, it starts ignorant, the simple and ignorant, and everyone went through trials, but some did in a more simple and wise way, the other ones not. So, but we suffer the effects of our neighbors, our siblings, or whatever, even within our family. We see some that went well, the other ones didn't do so well, and nevertheless, they become our problem, family problem. We all know that. But to think this is something, some sin, something to punish me? Oh no. God has this design to put exactly that difficult brother, cousin, husband, whatever, together to test if we are willing to break the barrier and to help and to help. So we, of course, we cannot succeed at once. Oh no, there are some stubborn brothers and cousins and difficult situations, but only having the willingness to extend our hands, our arms. Look, we have to, we want to put our head in the sand when it comes to problematic relative in our in our family. What we do, we look to other side unless they really jump to in front of us, but we have to be more sensitive, and of course by being sensitive we have to, as early as possible, see the tendencies of our children, because we are old spirits. We didn't get now a bad person, problematic person. No, it's coming from way, way, way. We spend many incarnations together, So it is time for us to have open our sensitivity, our humanity, first towards the ones that are close to us. It's not by chance that they are close to us, right? It's not by chance that I have that difficult person around me, you know. But it is all a well planned design by God or by the spirits that are helping me, Yasco, to evolve while I have a quote unquote still a very easy life. Well, I cannot say, well, perhaps I deserve it. No, it's not as simple as that. I deserve it. How about all the other hundreds incarnations? I was not a good person. Every one of us have made mistakes. And if today my life is easier, there is a reason why life is easier for me in one aspect, maybe not in the other aspect, okay? Maybe ease in wealth, maybe not ease in health, maybe ease in relationship and not in other aspects. But whatever I can do, if it's my siblings because they come to me, but if I don't have siblings, may come some friends, cousin. That is all part of the big design, guys. Right? Our friends that come, we have to be sensitive. We have to be open to embrace and say, look, what I have in terms of wisdom, in terms of wealth, it doesn't belong probably to me entirely. It's for me to do something with this asset. Even the moral asset is for me to do something in this planet of trials and expiation. Way up will be not necessary my wisdom. Everybody is okay, is good, right? But here that with this diversity, I have to be willing to give my hand, my best of my thought, best of me, good vibration to each one that knocks my door. And it's not by chance that they knock my door. You guys have a big family, very together. It doesn't need even to knock the door.
Mhm.
I live alone, so they have to knock my door. But I have to be aware, willing to listen, right?
Sure.
To give my hand, whatever I can give in that moment.
Very well, Yasco. Thank you. I'll pass the question then. I'll move to the next question from Daniel when he says, "In what situation temptations can work in favor of our moral spiritual evolution?"
Well, temptations, that means is already we're looking at the excess. It's not the basics, right? We don't say temptation for goodness. We don't use this word. Temptation to give my good hand, my help. Temptation has these bad negative connotations. Okay, so it says, what was the question? In what situation temptations can work in favor of our moral? Well, like in one of the questions that was put it in, say, well, you have this temptation to build your wealth. How about if you give part of this to the common cause? And the spirits are so clear. You won't do that. We don't see you guys in this stage that you are doing this. You are caught up with these temptations that is giving all the goods, all the pleasure, and you want to keep it.
Mhm.
It is an illusion if you think, oh, but I may, if God, they even pray, give me this, because I promise you that I will share. Once you have, you don't share. Or next
Mhm.
time, perhaps, because if I apply this money to buy that condo or that mine of gold, later I may be able to share more with my neighbors. Look, we postponed. So it is an illusion. Even if we say, God, give me this, wealth, because once I have, in one point I will divide. No, we don't. Because this is temptation, diabolic temptation. We go and go until we are buried in the mud. And then the horror of the how to say the tests comes. We are reached by horrible disease. We lose everything, and then we cry, God, next time. Yes, it's given the opportunity. Next time. Yes, poverty, difficulties in getting it, people complaining about you, why don't you give the basic need, etc., etc., right?
That is true. Thank you, Yasko. Well, Yasko, one question that came to mind here, and I want to move on a little bit here too, because Kirsten also brought some really good points, some really good questions here that I would like to share with everyone, most of them. But in the school business, the different schools of business, right? We are always talking about the effectiveness and efficiency. And as you were sharing this idea of equalities and inequalities, what would you say is the best way for us to uh, engage in in the idea of being effective as well as efficiency with the resources that we have? In other words, what is the best way for us to value what we have, whether little or the big things that we have, right? and to be happy with what we have.
There is nothing wrong for you to want it to be more and more efficient, to produce more, to decrease waste. No, this is the basics for many, how to say, industries or agriculture, whatever. This is nothing wrong. The problem is that we, in this level that we are, our egotistic background that is not yet solved, our tendencies to gain more and more will be slowly distancing me with this privileged intelligence and way to deal to the needs of a majority of people that are even working for me. That's how we get lost. That's why in this that question, they say, well, nothing wrong with this to build the things, the wealth. I'll do later. No, you won't do it because you're still in a phase that we have to be careful with the temptation. Be careful because you are you have much more bad aspects of your spirit than the good yet, because we are in this stage. It's less than half, right? We are in an evolutionary stage that, well, if we don't pay attention and if we have too much easy things, we can see us. We put our head in there and wants to grab everything. It's like you are so thirsty, you are so hungry, so you see that wonderful cake or wonderful, you put all this thing without even think who is around you. Even if you're getting sick, we keep doing this. So we have to be careful with this thing, that we are not in a stage of spiritual evolution that when it's given to us, we say, this is, I don't need any more of this. I can do good job with what I have. No, I want more, I want more. I grab from other person. Oh, but I am more intelligent. I'm smarter than the other person. Why should I give this chance to the other if I can do better? The whole society may gain with me. No, because your focus is in only you first. No, you're not that altruistic in this level that we are. Only few are there. Once they go to downhill, that they lose their family, they lose their friends, they lose their community, then they cry. Then we cry. We cried too. We cried a lot.
And it's a great point that you're bringing, right, Yasu? Because just something that I came across the other day in the book "Evolution: Two Worlds," right? I believe by Andrea Louise, that we see that the number of years that we as spirits have reincarnated in the primitive condition versus the awakening of a world of trial, of expiation. So our past, the majority of our past is in the battle of survival, right? In the battle of wanting to survive. And coming out of this awakening from this, it's going to take a long time, a much longer period than we, this very short moments that now we have, to say, oh my God, it's not only me, but others. Oh my God, I don't do things by myself, right? Because we forget that as well, right? So
Well, because if you don't have yet developed your moral part, because you just are in that mode that you need to survive.
Right.
It's just
Right.
instinct of
Yeah.
survival. It's like animal. You going to blame the animal that they killed the fellow one to
Yeah.
have food? No.
Right.
The problem is that when we evolve more, we want to kill and have more, not because my need. You don't see in the majority of the animals, wild animals, they doing this of, I want to grab more and more and more than I need. No, they just eat what to satiate their hunger. We, without, when the intelligence start to develop, we say, but tomorrow I need to eat too. But the animals won't think, tomorrow I need to eat. Once that thing triggers, they go to hunt. But we know, let me save this, no matter how my families are suffering. It may even go to spoil. I don't have. There's so much food stored, So I think there is no. Still, we have to be very conscious because we are in the beginning. Because we were in that in stage of very primitive beings, not endowed with free will and awareness. But now that we are slowly throughout ups and downs, falls and getting up, seeing suffering around me because of my decision, of my conduct, I inflict the pain in my family, to myself too, because
Right.
my
Right.
excesses
Yeah.
made me sick, right? Made me kill
True.
to keep that wealth, made me a criminal, right?
The,
But this is part of the evolution.
yeah.
We cannot blame anybody.
And the reason I brought this is mainly to point out that this inequality, perhaps a consequence that it has we have studied, but also for us to learn from it and not to do it anymore, right? Because there are other temptations, as Daniel mentioned here, that perhaps will in the future bring us back to a sense of equality much better than we are right now. But why wait until the future? Why fall into temptations, right? On
Because we only learn through pain.
pain, right? Yep. Well, I want to also, use this thought to engage on the next question that Kirsten brought to us here, which is really important. There is a large group of people who believe that if inequality exists, it is the doing of lazy people who don't want to do better or work harder. What do you say?
Well, it's very difficult to say, to define point blank the lazy person. We have to go to the history of that person, how much that person was neglected, tried before to work. People put their feet in front, it fell, didn't have help. It is very difficult to judge, why the person gives up of working, gives up labor. What is the role model that child saw in their household? If it is a high level spirit that happens to be born in that poor, simple household, okay, there is a different ending, that there is a different how. But if that person, so if he comes here to teach that people, that family, but in the majority of situations, they are part of the whole gathering. and to see if awakes some of things in one of them. They say it's very difficult once you're born in a family that generation by generation they are incarcerated. It is difficult. But will be some person, a special person that is sent to that child or youth that gives the hand. And for those some conversion of energy, that child, that youth says, okay, I'll follow you, right? But this is such a forces that for me is so difficult to dig, to equate, but there are always help. That's why I think we need to pray constantly for this help to come, to be the light in that group, for them to get out from this passive mode of crimes, of laziness, etc. That there are always chances. And we also, if we pay attention around within our family, we see that. Oh, I should have done a little bit more. I should have give my hand. And many of you guys have given your hands. That's why some came out from the mud. And they will get to be important being in this equation.
Thank you, Yasco. I would like to finalize here with two questions, and they also come from Kirsten. She's been enlightened somehow today to asking these amazing questions that I'd like to finalize here. It's a two-part, and I can put them, and we can go back and forth, no worries, in terms of showing on the screen. She asks the following: if God allows us to be born rich or poor, is it wrong to work towards obtaining wealth? Are we meant to stay in poverty if God puts us there? And then hold your thoughts. She says the following, just to add to my last question. Like, if God says we need to experience poverty in one lifetime, how do we reconcile that some people just accept their life and others feel the need to live better? So
Well,
are we good, or you wanted me to put the first
the
one here?
first question, of course, I think because we cannot equate the thing like this. Oh, perhaps God put in this poor situation is for me to stay here. No. Who said that is that the case? If I have the means of get out from that mud, almost dying there, I'm gonna say, well, God wants me to be there, stay there. No, we try to, for a survival mode, to get out from that. So nobody wants to be in hunger, to not to have a clean water. They are always looking for more, for different ways to get. Look Africa, look all our experience with those communities. They go after, and thank God now people around are being touched by the situation of these people. And why we are touched by the situation of these people, for instance, in Africa, in poverty? Because it was supposed to be, this is the design. We are in the phase of awakening. Yasco is in the phase of awakening. So will come many news, opportunities. And I'm gonna say, it's not for me, don't pay attention. That will be my fault. Because that was coming exactly for me, Yasco, to be awakened to that need. Those people are tools for me to awake God sometimes, uses some funny ways, strange ways to awake me. Not to say, well, because it's not fair to put poor people just awake, Yasco. No, they are there because many other reasons. But in this midst, I have my job to do as an organization, right? So I think we should not think about that or that. We have just to do the job that comes and drop in front of us. And we know when the job is for me, not for Leo. I know, I know because I was touched. I don't have all the problems to deal with. I have suddenly a little resource. I have people to talk about, right? So the other question was, what was?
Just to add to my last question, like, if God says we need to experience poverty in one lifetime, how do we reconcile that some people just accept their life and others feel the need to live better?
Well, this is the degree of evolution, spiritual evolution, moral evolution of me, of other ones. This is normal to happen. I probably 100, 200, I don't know how many incarnations, I could not understand what I understand today. That I have to do something, even though I am in a poor situation. I should not kill that fellow neighbor. I shouldn't rob uh, his animals, cows, and whatever, chicken, you know. So I am also evolving slowly, and it appears some tests in front of me. It's not that I'm so deserving this test, someone suffering in front of me. No, it's part of the whole picture. The suffering groups, needy persons, etc. Around me. There are people that there is no problematic people around. And there's some that have a lot. They look at one side, you have one problem, you see human problem. There is a reason for that. So we should not just say, no, it's not for me. It is for me. It is for me. So I think we have to do and try to awake ourselves. Don't hit our head in the sand. No, be aware. I know we have a lot of excuse, but the events that happened in front of me, guys, is for me. Is for me. I should not look the other side. Oh, this is not for me. The government should do it. Someone, the community should do it. The spirit center should be. Yes. Who is the spirit center? Yasco, right? Leo. So I think this awareness comes slowly. We should not also blame so much, but it is time, at least our group here, that we have so much of teachings to awake. But this is
Amen.
a slow awakening. It's okay. It's okay. But if we want to speed up, so let's be more conscientious about the surroundings. Not only material surroundings, how much waste we have, how much actually I need of this wealth, but people. Can I do something? Can I help this way or the other? Do I need to have all these things and not distribute? Something like that. Seems
Right.
like
Right.
simple, but it's difficult to jump to the job.
It is, and I thank you, Yasko, for this amazing reminder. When to look what's around, to look of the resources that were given to us, right, for us to utilize them well, and to really rethink about what really equality is, right, and what the inequality is too. And it's interesting that at the beginning that you showed to us that this chapter. when Kardec brings the idea of the law of equality, that he discusses more what is not equality, right? Because we see inequalities, as a topic of each of the subsections, right, of that section of the book. Very well. I would like
Because
to do
that's
something.
what hits us.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
is
we're still
painful.
vibrating in the negative, right?
This is painful to us.
Right. Today, I would like to do something a little bit different here as we finalize here. I would like to share one quick thing here with us before we part.
Oh,
This, everyone, is a flower of a beautiful tree that Yasco, and I will say, I'll put myself here on the spot here, that she gave it to us, and we planted in the back of our yard. Every year, I try to send her pictures. This is
Camellia.
right, Camellia, when she was here, and when, now that she's away too, this year, it was beautiful because we had about 6 or 7 flowers. This is one I haven't sent to you, yes, because I wanted to show you here. And this is, I would say, mutually a present that we were sending to you and to everyone who's connected with us during this moment of summer, when these flowers, they come out, and saying thank you for this amazing presentation. I'll leave here on the screen for the time being. And to complement this, which it's kind of hard to complement something that God gave it to us, right? But in addition to this beautiful picture, this beautiful flower, I would like to invite you to say the final prayer and bid us farewell. So until
Thank
we meet next time, and the next time that you'll be here with us, showing and presenting another amazing topic as well. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, so let's concentrate ourselves, getting our inner peace in order to connect with the high spirits, spiritual guide, familial guide that are there always watching for us. First, to be so thankful, our gratitude for this amazing life given to me, given to each one of us. And also, with this life comes and came all the opportunity for our evolution, moral evolution, especially through endurance, through the physical difficulties, through difficulties in relationships, in different settings, family, neighborhood, workplace. My God, but this is a blessing. It's a blessing given to us for our growth, for our spiritual growth, trimming our bad habits, bad tendencies, selfishness, pride, and also to develop the qualities, virtues that are still very weak in the infancy. We still, we not with our legs firm in terms of a virtue to face the difficulties and still remain virtuous. That is the test. Easy times is easy to go through, but God is sending all the different trials in order for us to test ourselves how much we made our virtues solidify strong, so no big wind No bad times will put us down. For that, for helping us on those difficult times, I know God, mentors. You send all the helpers, all our guardian angels, all the familial spirits to be with us, even when we are not aware of it, during our sleep, giving some advices to us, some strength for us to keep going, to keep enduring all the difficult situations, and nevertheless continue to be good to others, and especially good to ourselves. Thank you so much for giving us all the settings and opportunities of wealth, of friendship that will help me to go through to this incarnation and end with these victorious settings of decisions. Hope my decisions will be mostly good in order to cancel down the bad ones that I still are making. Thank you for sending all the spiritual help, the friends, the mentors, and especially the Spiritist doctrine that we shall be studying together in order to grow together. Thank you for the friends that you sent to me. Thanks for the family members also that you sent to me. Thank you, and so be it.